Hey everybody, Will Beach back here with another episode of After Hours Market Talk. But in this series right now, I'm doing the Top Step 50K challenge. If you don't know what that is, it's a futures challenge hosted through TopStep where they will allow you to get funded if you pass two phases of the challenge. Okay, so basically you would have to profit 3,000 two times, 3,000 in phase one, 3,000 in phase two, and then you can get a funded account. Now, what does that mean? It means that essentially it's a $50,000 account, but you only get a max drawdown of 2,000. So, um, and that's only 999 in a single day. If you hit 1,000 in a single day, they cut your account and you have to start over. If you do it twice in a row, then they cut your account and you got to start over. So, or I should say, if you get 2,000 max drawdown though over a course, like maybe you only get 500 drawdown per day, for consecutively, and you get down to 2,000, then you're going to get a cut account, right? So basically, in order, people don't like this because their rules are pretty strict. But it's not that complicated. The reason why it gets complicated is because they've given you the ability to over leverage your account. So you have to understand that you cannot over leverage your account. So what does that mean? So if I have a max drawdown of 1,000 and they're allowing me to do five mini lots, at a single time, you will burn your account in roughly 10 points of movement, not ticks, but like $10, 10 points of movement. You will lose the account. If you do one, then you'll lose your account in 50. Yes, if you have one, you'll lose your account in 50 ticks of movement, or not ticks, I'm sorry, points of movement. So basically $50 worth of the NASDAQ movement will lose your account if you're playing one mini. So what do? I play in the micros. So I play 5 micros. 5 is the max you can trade, and it doesn't matter if it's micros or minis. That's the catch here. So I can't do up to 50 micros and scale in or anything like that. I can do 5 of any whatever I'm choosing, right? So I do 5 micros on the NASDAQ, on the NQ. So if you guys were watching today, it started off 300 points in the red. Right, here's a 15-minute chart. 300 points in the red. And basically, you had a sharp correction. Almost broke even on the day. Fell down, I think, about negative 200 on the day. And now we're looking for another correction back up here. That's a 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart. I'll bring up my other account here in a second. Okay. I'll bring up the TD charts because they're a little bit easier to see. So I'm using Tradeovate on the TopStep challenge. By the way, I do have my affiliate link finally. So if you are interested in doing this setup where you can be a funded trader, you can get 20% off your futures challenge with my link in the description. And anyway, so here we are on a 30-minute chart here, and you can see, right, big fall with a big correction. So here's the difference, right? You have momentum that was going to the downside, and then you have the momentum die. And when that happens, you typically run into a consolidation pattern, from momentum to consolidation to either reversal or continuation. That's typically the cycle. Well, in this instance, it jumped out of consolidation into what we would call correction, because it just straight up broke out of these previous highs here, right, and then pulled back to a higher low, right, kind of in line here. So now we're going from momentum down to the point that would look like momentum up, which would probably look, somewhere in this range, most likely. And then for another pullback, and then from there, we'll probably have our direction, whether it's going to continue long or fall short again. So in the short term here, I'm expecting another push upward. And I was already in this trade long, and I took 105 profit here. I could have held it for much longer, but it's after hours and there's not a ton of volume, so I didn't. But I basically took it right off. So this is a 150. Let me make sure I'm using the 150 on here. Yeah, this is a 150 EMA, and I took it right off of this almost perfectly at 15.14, and I basically sold right up here with just 105, and then as soon as I sold it, it ripped up to the next level. So this was a $300 or $400 trade if I would have kept it, and I had no reason not to. I just low volume and just kind of didn't want to mess with it. But that's just kind of I'm expecting the pullback here. On the 5-minute chart, you can see we're kind of teetering this line here, right? So technically we were trading short, and then you got this. So now you got to watch for another pull down into these levels before it probably reverses. It technically didn't reach a momentum state. So anybody who's new here, if this is stuff you're interested in, I'm trading on Trade8. Most your major platforms have this signal called an ADX with a DI plus and DI minus, okay? And what that looks like is basically your DI plus I have labeled green, and when it's up here, we're running positive, and DI minus would be my red indicator, and when depending on which side it is on, is positive, right? What side is running. So if it's up above, like over here, you can see we're running short. But momentum is the ADX, so that's the white line here. So momentum is above this 25. So basically, the play here is this is a secret sauce. This is only one indicator that will pretty much net you some kind of profit if you're taking it. You can usually let these run longer as long as you have the large scale direction in mind. So like if your 10, 15, 30-minute charts are like in the direction that you're catching this momentum, then you're going to have a big run. If they aren't, then you might just want to just take profit as it hits and call it a day. But if you have strong indication that you're running long with your large patterns, these things, even on a 1 minute, it'll give you indication that this thing's going to run for 50, 100, even 200, depending on like this, right? Let me shrink this down. This, right? You see this? Huge moves, right? All right. So anyways, so basically, I'm going to show you guys. I over traded today, like straight up over traded. You can see that actually I'm 99 up, even though it's 105 because of the commissions. But this is still from today because it hasn't flipped yet. So you can see here, I mean, just straight over trading. That's 2005 in profit, and that's 1264 and losing trades, right? So, and 168 commissions. I mean, guys, this strategy is so good, but you have to be patient, and that's where the mental game comes in, because you run out of patience, you start taking trades you shouldn't, and that's the bottom line. But if you're patient, you're gonna catch them, and you can see here, this I had this opportunity like 3 times today, but finally at the end of the day, I let it run for my full take profit, which is 50 points right here. So you can see that one big candle right there to close out the day. Awesome, right? Every trade before that, I was just sniping it and taking it off. So my losses and my wins were getting washed out. And you don't want that. You want a better right? You want a better win to loss ratio, as well as, right, you want essentially 2-to-1 win ratio and 2-to-1 risk reward, right? You don't want to you want to win twice as much, but you also want to win twice as much every time you do win to really make a dent, right? So to close out the day, because this is added into today, because it's not midnight yet, even though it is it's after hours, it's 8 Eastern. So that's 573 on the day after commissions. So not bad. We're running through this. I was down yesterday, so that's why you can't see it, but I'm basically at 50,458. And the goal is to get to 53,000, right? So slow and steady wins the race. There's no rush. You basically have to pay a fee every month that you're still in the challenge. But at that rate, so like if you're just kind of breaking down the math, I mean, essentially, if you can average 300-400 a day, you're going to have the first phase in 2 weeks, you're going to have the second phase in 2 weeks. But even if it takes you longer, they're going to fund your account. So like if you have to spend a couple $100, then it's still worth it. I've been funded multiple times and I've lost them multiple times, because what happened is I have many strategies, and I can teach you all of them, right? I can sit in front of here and teach you 1,000 different strategies. But the problem with that is if you're trying to use every strategy throughout the day, then you're taking too many trades and you're going to just burn it up, right? And if you're in a consolidation day, you're going to burn your account up fast. You need a direction, and you need to know how to identify that direction. You need to know how to identify like correctly moving with it and not against it. And then of course your risk being having a stop loss that makes sense. So because I play momentum trades that are breakout, I don't go to like the bottom level of the previous low, because I know that if I'm playing momentum, it should never go back to that point, because we're playing breakout only. So if it does go back to that point, then it's already too much. So I use a 15 point. So the way they have it on here is like delta. I'll show you right here. So this is my bracket settings. Delta price, take profit, stop loss. My take profit is 50 and my stop loss is 15. This is not ticks. This is full moves. If you notice, a lot of people play ticks because they're scared. Like they're just sniping, right? They just were like, boom, 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 snipe. And they're probably over leveraged, which means if they don't get out, they're going to lose their account fast. So I can lose $150 on a loss, knowing that when I hit my momentum play, there's 500 waiting on the other side for me. So, and you saw it, right? I showed you it. And the other ones I just kept cutting because you have to get out of it psychologically, you have to get out of your own head. And I could have let 2 or 3 run for 50 points today that I didn't. So, you know, the difference is more money, less losses, you know, bigger profit at the end of the day. I'm not mad about my day. I mean, profiting like that is good, but you do have to kind of get out of your own head. And even, you know, professional traders, that's what happens, right? You get in your own head. You have to stick with your plan. And when you do, it turns out really well. So this is exactly what I'm using when I place my trades. Feel free to copy that. Guys, feel free to copy anything. Honestly, I would love for it. If you plan on doing this and you use my code, follow along, right? And I'm sitting here doing this, you know, I'm not giving you my exact step trade by trade, but I'm literally showing you that when you get these breakouts, right, you have the opportunity to profit big time. Even in the after hours right here, I mean, this was 50, that was a 50 point move. You know, that's worth 500 by itself. I should put some of these other ones on here. Like, I know a lot of you watch the ES, right? Essentially, they're going to look very, very similar. ES moves, it has a, it does not move like the NASDAQ. It moves in the same fashion, but not nearly as big of moves, right? You're talking about a couple bucks here and there, but it moves. So NASDAQ moves at 50 cents per micro. I'm sorry. For every 25 cents the NASDAQ moves, you would get 50 cents with my 1 micro. Like, it's like double like that. I have to double check because I don't ever trade the ES. I know it's more though, so it has less movement, but it's worth more. So if you know exactly what it is, you know, you can comment below and go that route and just kind of fill everyone in. It is worth more though, so you would have to essentially understand that if you had one mini of the NASDAQ, it's $10 per dollar, and I think this one is $12.50 per dollar, so it's just slightly more. But anyways, same kind of movement here, right? That's a 1 minute chart. If I go to the hourly and kind of do it, you got this kind of W forming, so it might break this and try and retest, you know, these levels right here. But as it sits right now, we're still, you know, well in a downward trend. We're trying to consolidate, we're trying to correct, and you just kind of got to wait and see. So basically, as you see this momentum dying off and this dying off, you get this correction, not a reversal, but a correction, and then a correction can lead to a reversal. So that's what we're kind of keeping an eye for. So anyone looking at that, that's what we're looking for. Anyways, that about wraps it up. So we'll keep an eye on this. You know, I always kind of keep an eye on till I go to bed, and then don't let it keep you up all night. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyways, like, subscribe. We'll keep you guys in the loop. You can see how the progress goes and what it looks like to become a funded trader, and then also, you know, what it looks like after that. So follow the journey, like, subscribe, and we'll keep pushing forward.